Okay, so our next section is transit route service evaluation. Okay, so let's define what a T-best route is so everyone is kind of clear on it. And so it represents fixed route transit service, typical average or typical week service for weekday, Saturday, and Sunday. So unlike the GTFS, it does not contain every service day that you have for over a certain period. Whenever you bring a GTFS into T-best, it wants to have it for a typical weekday, Saturday, or Sunday, or whatever you would want to place in it. But generally, if we're developing for a TDP or a validated model, you would want to have typical service that represents your service on weekday, Saturday, and Sunday for a service period, right? So the service period could be from the time that GTFS starts to the time that it ends over a 3 or 4 month time frame, right? So you would select a day that you had them either like maximum service or typical service for that period. So it contains operational fare, and this is the T-best route, operational data, fares, service information, all the trips, the special generator and amenity information that you can add into it at the stop level. And it manages the route alignment, service, and attribute editing all within T-best. So whenever you're dealing with a route in T-best, you have all the management capabilities to fully code the route and your full network within T-best. So over on the right, you see the graphic, the route component hierarchy, where you have the T-best route, which is basically is made up of route patterns, right? So what we mentioned route patterns earlier, the paths that make up the schedule, the unique paths. And then each route pattern has route segments that form the linear alignment of the pattern. And every segment contains stops, so that every stop knows what pattern or what segment it's on, the segment knows what pattern it's on, and of course the pattern knows what route it's on. So all of that's managed for you inside of T-best. Okay, so the route structure is the hierarchy of it here is basically goes from the top level from here at the route level to either service patterns, which are route patterns, or operational data. So the operational data contains cost and fare and route type and seat capacity. We've been talking about that. On the service levels, we have trips and alignments, right? So the trips have service spans and in-vehicle times attached to them. The alignments have segments and stops attached to them. And then the stops, you can code SE data, special generators, amenities, APC data, all is attached at the stop level. So generally, this is the hierarchy that T-best deals with. And over on the left, you have the T-best tools, where you can kind of manage either reporting or analysis or editing. All of those are kind of managed within T-best. Okay. Okay, so evaluating transit service. So now we know what a route is. If our existing service is, analyze existing service before developing application or alternative scenarios. So basically what's on the ground right now, right? And then you have proposed service, where you evaluate proposed service changes and new routes. So you can do that for multiple reporting features in T-best, where you would support different applications or requirements, whether it's in a TDP or a COA, or different type of grant applications. So route service reports, service summaries, which are fixed route transit service profiles, very handy for creating profiles if you're doing kind of operations analysis work at the route level and you want to detail all of the attributes of a route. The route service summary is a great tool to do that. Route performance report for operational and cost analysis. The route socioeconomic reporting for transit demand assessment or market assessment. The route land use reporting for baseline conditions assessment. And the route service summary for observed ridership gives you existing service and performance evaluation. So that's using the APC stop level ridership data that we do have contained in our Gatorville transit system today. All right, so here is the route service report. Very easy to generate in T-best. Whatever you would select in the routes list, you can generate a report for it that has key service attributes for service span, average headway, speeds, round trip travel time for the route, revenue service trips, miles and hours, and service hours. So this is not model dependent. It's just you don't have to have a ridership estimation model run. You just can run this report at any time. And you can run it for a weekday, or you can run it for any of the different time periods. So the peak period, Saturday to Sunday, or annualized as well. So it, is a great way to even quickly estimate cost for your whole system or a selected set of routes. The route service summary I mentioned earlier is a kind of a roll-up of interactive and detailed service planning tool to summarize route characteristics, including the route extent, service span, service levels, demographics, and cost, all in one interface, including a map of the alignment as well, and all the stops and the time points. So you're seeing a lot about this route in just one roll-up within TBEST. So you can get to really detailed information by time of day. So if you notice on this report, you see time period attributes where you have AM peak, off peak, PM peak night, and total weekday, and then Saturday and Sunday as well. So you can see how it's, where its services are in terms of time of day, and then all the hours and cost broken down as well. So, and you can annualize this report using the annualize, it's highlighted in red, check mark, and that will annualize all the information. All right, so again, with the route service summary map, you can change the labels, you can switch the service. So the service day is set to weekday by default, but if you wanted to see what is the alignment on Sunday, if it is different from weekday or Saturday or Sunday, you can certainly do that. You can copy the clipboard, you can export this map to ArcGIS Online or to a local GIS file. You can get to the Maps button. So the Maps button is access to transit demographic maps, including population, jobs, land use, and Title VI. So very easily using the Maps button here down in the lower right corner. So this is the Maps button. Hopefully you can see that. That'll give you options to just open demographic maps and land use maps for this route. So if you're trying to build a transit route profile for any one route, you can quickly get to a lot of information about that through this toolbar at the bottom, including a template. So if you see this Excel button here, that is a template that allows you to fill in all kinds of information about this route into a template that you can include in a route profile. So it's essentially a template for building the route profile for the route. All right, so you can also get to the schedule. So you can review the weekday, Saturday, and Sunday vehicle trip schedule. You get to ridership, both estimated and observed. You can modify route-specific operations settings. So if you do modify them, let's say you change the service mile cost or the vehicle seats, all that then gets reflected in whatever roll-up you have as the summary. So it's, as you change inputs to this summary, even changing service or the route itself, it all retabulates itself and will show you what you have actively editing in TBEST. So it serves as a roll-up that is a great way to check, even if you're digitizing a brand new route, it serves as a great trick to roll up all the service characteristics you've placed in it. You can also get to the service editor directly from here. So there's this TBEST trip editor. You can get to it directly from here as well. Yep. Clear that. Okay. So here is just the drop down for the map where you can get to the population, jobs, and you can go directly to this market analysis for the route, where it uses the default parameters for the Title VI walk access distance. You can see where it's saying the quarter mile stop buffer for Route 11 here. So that quarter of a mile, that originates from when we're setting the transit system policies. That is where it's pulling that from. So if your policy was half mile, then this default population, jobs, land use would be a half mile. So whatever it's defined in the transit system policies is what pops up here and is basically the market for this particular route. Of course, there are lots of tools to change the market to make it whatever you want it to be, and we'll go over those, but this is just a very quick way of getting to these maps. Okay. All right, here's the schedule. So, so you can quickly access the schedule for the route. You can see that it's defined by direction and service day. So this is Route 29, and it's eastbound weekday for the Lynx transit system. The first trip starts at 4:35 a.m. It ends at 5:06 a.m. and the next one starts at 5:05. So just a typical schedule. And you can, for any route, you can display this. TBEST generates this. So this is based on your GTFS type inputs that it will generate this schedule. You can also get to estimate a ridership very quickly. So for that specific route, 19 Richmond Heights, you can get to the detailed total boardings, direct, and transfer boardings that TBEST estimated for it. It will also annualize the boardings for that route as well, give you performance measures, boardings per trip, mile, and hour. So all rolled up by time of day and weekday and annual. So again, you export this to Excel and you have it as part of your roll-up for this route of what TBEST estimated, and you have a quick table to add to your overall route profile template. Now, if you have the APC stop level ridership data, you can also create an observed ridership summary. So this is a little bit different than the estimated. It has both total boardings and alightings as part of its summary. So let me illustrate that. So here is the boardings and alightings. So that's rolled up by TBEST time period, weekday and Saturday and Sunday, and then annualized over here, the total boardings. You also have your boardings per trip, mile, and hour. So these are your actual observed, right? So this is what came in from the APC data and is then summarized here in TBEST. So what's different here is that you have passenger miles, average passenger trip length in miles, the max load ratio, and average load ratio. We don't have these for the estimated. We do have them for the observed. So, so we do calculate these. So it's another element of information that TBEST will pull out of your service, your network, and then also your stop level APC data to provide some additional information. All right, so you can click this View Stop Level Load Ratios button right here. And when you do that, clear this and go to the next. You get to see the individual boardings and alightings for every stop. So we'll just illustrate here again. So here are the boardings and alightings. So this is the first stop on the list, sorry, on the route. It corresponds to this stop in the graph, so that it's sequentially going through each stop and showing you the load ratio, right? So whatever the load ratio is here in the table, it's graphically shown to you here, so that throughout the this route for the off-peak time period and a certain route pattern, it's showing you the load ratio and also showing the passengers on board here in the table. But this particular table is the load ratio. And of course, the load ratio is dependent on your however many seats you have. So you can basically, that's rolled up at the route level and you know how many seats you have on this bus. So it's basically giving you a nice graphic that you can again export to Excel and be able to summarize your onboard loads from your APC data. Okay, so here's an example of using the route service summary tool. So this is our Gator bill on the left, just an example route service summary. And a lot of the tools and data that I just showed you can be rolled up into a nice graphic. Like this is an example from a TDP at Hart, where you can use the TBEST data to show lots of different information tables and charts, and then some narratives where you're summarizing and giving a route profile that you can summarize in TBEST. So that's kind of what we're aiming at with this particular tool, is being able to summarize and create a detailed route profile using the TBEST tools related to primarily the route service summary. Okay, so let's clear this off and go to the next. All right, so we are at, time is it? It's 11:51. So if you all don't mind, let's finish this this exercise before we go to lunch, and then we'll come back and we'll resume. But I'm going to walk through this right now, and probably get through it in faster than 20 minutes, but we'll see. So we'll walk through this. Any questions right now? No? All right. So let's do this transit route service evaluation, and then we'll go to lunch. And of course, if you want to join and do this on your own, you can join the breakout room, and Sam can help you and guide you through it on that end if you want to do it independently. Okay. All right, so I am on exercise 2.6, part 1, evaluating transit service and performance using the route service summary tool. So in TBEST Explorer within the Gatorville Transit System, open the fall 2024 system. So I just double clicked on it to open it. The next is double click on Route 1 in the Routes panel to access the route service summary for Route 1. All right, so I'm going to double click on Route 1, and it will open up the route service summary. Okay, so it's asking us to, we've selected Route 1, but we can also go to Route 2, and it would summarize, change the map, or any of our routes. We can quickly just go, it'll show the full summary. It will give us the route trip length, the stops served, the average stop spacing, the service hours, if there's service on each day, the service cost per mile, and it also gives you demographics. So you can quickly get to people and jobs, minority population, low income population, seniors and minors, and one vehicle or less. So some kind of key transit types of demographic variables. Couple of questions I'll just go ahead and answer. So the observed ridership needs to be yearly. No, it's daily. It's average daily ridership for the APC data. So it would be over the whatever your GTFS is, it would be generally over that span. So it could be a 4-month span of ridership that you average by for every stop for every time period. So yeah, it's definitely a bit of work to do the observed ridership import, because you have to work with the vendor basically to get the data that you need and then format it for TBEST. So the next question is a question on APC data. Is it pulled from US Census, or can we utilize APC data we verified ourselves? Yes, you can use the data you verified yourself. That really is the source. It is your data. So yes. Okay, let's move on. So in the route service summary, we'll return to Route 1. So let's go back to Route 1. We've looked at the others that are there and seen some of their attributes, and that's great. We can get around to every route in the system. All right. Use the route service summary table, maps, and schedule to answer the following questions for Route 1. What are the total annual revenue service hours? All right, so that's a trick question right off the bat. You have to click the annualize button, and then you get the annual revenue service hours. And that number is for 14,891 annual revenue service hours for Route 1. How many stops are served? That comes from, let's see if I can annotate here. Right here, stops served 51. What is the percent low income population served? So the low income population is here, 54.9%. All right, on to the next page. On the route service summary toolbar, click on the show route ridership detail button. So let's clear off our graphics. Close that. And what's it? T-Bus estimated ridership. So that is this button, T-Bus estimated ridership. And then it asks, what is the estimated weekday boardings per service hour? So the estimated weekday boardings per service hour is 1752.1. So if we annotate that real quickly, I'll just show you where it's at. Right here, 1751. So we just close that. So just clear and close and close. On the route service summary toolbar, select the show route ridership detail, observe ridership imported from GTFS option. So that is this option, observe ridership from GTFS import. It's going to pop this up and say this scenario contains stop level observed ridership imported from GTFS, but it has not been confirmed as accurate. And it's saying that because generally the process here is, you import your GTFS, it has the APC data in it, and then you validate it, right? So then you go through the validation process, and once you've validated it, basically what you're saying is that we deem the observed ridership to be accurate, right? So prior to that, it's not confirmed as accurate because you haven't validated the entire model and system. Like what we're leading up to here later today is we're going to validate. So that's what it's telling you in this. So it's okay to run this report. It's just it hasn't been fully confirmed, meaning it hasn't been fully validated along with the model. All right, so here is the service summary. So what are the weekday max and average load ratios? So the max load ratio is 0.24 and the average is 0.13. So that's all we wanted to see here. I will say that you can just click this view stop load ratios and then it will pop up your AM peak. You can switch to the eastbound here if you want to, and you can switch to different time periods and it would change the load ratio graph at the bottom. Okay. All right, so let's close this and let's click the schedule button, which is this button. And it just shows the schedule for this is Route 1 westbound for the weekday. So it starts at 6 a.m. at Rosa Parks. And so that is the question. What time does the first weekday westbound bus depart Rosa Parks Station? It is at 6 a.m. So you can change this to eastbound. So this is coming from Butler Plaza to Rosa Parks. You can switch this to Saturday, changes these start times, and then Sunday. Notice that we only have 2 time points here. If you have more time points, they will show up in this schedule, but this particular route only has 2 time points, the beginning and the end. All right, so we'll close that. And on to the next. It is evaluating transit service using the route service report. So we're going to go ahead and close our service summary and use the route panel list to select all routes in the Gatorville network. So we'll do a Control A to select all of them. To access the route service report, right-click on the routes panel and select route service report. And there it is. All right, so here's our service report. Let's go ahead and expand this up a little bit so we can see that it contains all the routes in the system. And at the bottom, there is a total, which is either the sum or averages for each of the variables. So the questions are, what is the number of estimated weekday vehicles? All right, so go to our annotation again. Our weekday vehicles or estimated vehicles is here. The total line is at the bottom, so it's 103. What is the number of Saturday stops served and average stop spacing? So again, if we kind of clear out this, close it, and we switch this to Saturday. So notice that it drastically changed the service. So anything that's not in service is now in red. So you can see which routes are in service and not in service very easily. So what is the number of Saturday stops served and average stop spacing? So Saturday stops served are 773, which is down at the bottom. And then our Saturdays, average stop spacing is 1,142. Our Saturday values different than those on the weekday and Sunday. Oh, most certainly different. What is the annual operating cost? Okay, so if we switch our service period to annual, so now it annualizes all of our numbers. When we go to operating cost, we're at about $27 million to operate annually the Gainesville or Gatorville network. What is the average Saturday headway of all transit service? All right, so if we switch to Saturday, and that number, our headway is 49, so 49 minutes. And how many Saturday vehicle trips? There are 531 revenue service trips, one-way revenue service trips. So both of those are located down here at the bottom. You can see that on the screen. So headway is to the right, revenue service trips are to the left for Saturday. Okay. Let's clear all that and go to the next. All right. All right, so we're on to 107. So wait, no, sorry, not 107. That's on mine. Yours will be a little bit different. Evaluating transit service using the route service report continued, part 2 continued. In the stops panel, ensure that the view route panel geometry is selected. So we're going to close the route service summary report. And I think we can clear the selection. So we'll go ahead and clear the map selection. And we'll go down to the stops panel and we'll ensure that the view route geometry only is selected, which it is, so that we can see that it has the box around it. So that is what we're seeing. There are no stops visible in the map. So that is the view mode. Okay, use the routes panel, select routes on the map to select routes at any location on the map. So we're just going to select routes by selecting routes here. Any location is fine. All right. So we're going to right click on our routes panel and select route service report. And of course, it just gives us the report for those that are selected. So in my selection will differ from what you have. But yeah, so I have 8 total routes selected. And so we're looking at the route service report. So basically the same thing. We can look at Saturday and Sunday, etc., right, and see our service. The task here for number 5 is just export to Excel. So I'd switch back to weekday and export to Excel. It's going to automatically forward you to this location, the TBus 5.0 Transit Systems Gatorville Reports location. And it's going to give us the fall 2024 route service report spreadsheet. So just the defaults are fine, just hit save. And will automatically pop up if you have Excel in Excel format. And from here, it will, I like to just give it a borders. So if, if you want to put borders in, very simple to do. And then it's basically the same format as what you had in TBest, has your logo in it, has the routes, the totals, etc. Okay, so we can close that. I'll go ahead and save it. And notice over here, we can close the report. It's now stored under reports. So at any time, I can just double click on this and reopen it from within TBEST. Okay, so that's if we close our scenario, and then that's it. So it's 12:05. So let's come back at 1:05 and we'll begin our afternoon